What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Today it's the podcast with AM Zone, and today we have.
My name's Matt.
Could you just give the viewers just a brief introduction about yourself and what you do?
My name's Matt Canton. I do Amazon FBA full time. We do about $1.5 million a year in revenue just doing that. We do online arbitrage, just sourcing products from other websites and reselling it on Amazon to make money. So that's my primary source of income. And in the last year or so, I've been seriously interested in real estate. So about 2 months ago, I bought my first room rental property in Brooksville, Florida. It's a 7-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and obviously we rent the rooms, and we're able to cash flow a little bit better doing that compared to what a lot of people do is a long-term rental. So that's a strategy here, and obviously Florida is a competitive market, so we can cash flow, make a little bit of money. It takes less of them, is what I'm learning, but management is a little bit more than something like a long-term rental. That's pretty much what my strategy is. Currently, right now, we're in a Hyatt Regency in Orlando, Florida. We just use some of the credit card points that we've earned by spending money through Amazon, and we'll stay here for free and travel a bit and enjoy our life, by doing stuff like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I do in a quick 2 minutes or so.
Okay, and I'm sure the viewers want to know, like, the viewers that aren't really entrepreneurially like oriented and need some help figuring out their space and direction for just in their lives, in your life, from $0 to making some money or just being in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges and some of the biggest takeaways you've faced?
I think the big thing is, well, two things is like really think about what your situation is and like where you want to go. And when I say really think, I mean actually sit down, maybe write down what your situation is and how you want to get there, and maybe leave some space when you're writing this down, where you are, where you want to get there, and then it will become more clear of like how you can get there. So like, for example, when I was trying to buy my first piece of real estate, it was pretty clear to me that like obviously I needed to consume content, learn a little bit, and then eventually buy. Well, I needed to figure out how I was going to buy. And because I didn't have a W-2, like I needed to figure out how I was going to buy a piece of property without proving that the income. And so I did that. I went to literally one real estate meetup, figured it out, and then a year later I ended up buying a piece of property. So think clearly about what you want to do and how you want to get there, and that will be very crucial in being able to move you along. And I think the second piece of that is don't focus on too many things. I think that's really important. Is like, even for me, trying to juggle like the two things that I have going right now is a lot. There's always like new shiny object syndrome, especially if you're an American citizen. There's like so many opportunities that you can do. You can be a pressure washer, you can be a trader like Samson, you can go to the military, you can work up the corporate ladder, you can be an Amazon seller like myself, or e-commerce seller like myself. There's so many things you can do, but I'd rather be a master of none than a master of one than a master of none. So you're just one person, so like just focus on one thing that you're interested in, stick to it, and stick to it for a long time, and you'll inevitably be good at it. There's like that saying, you need to spend 10,000 hours on something before you can even expect to be remotely good at something. I think that's probably pretty low if I were to say so. So just spend time on something and focus on it. Don't be distracted by other fancy things. Like, just keep your head straight.
It was your analogy of the trees, right? Like,
Yeah.
being able to focus on one thing. Imagine you decided today that you were to have a garden of many trees, or even a house of 10 kids, right? Like, could you realistically be able to nurture and feed those 10 kids? Or would it be better for you to start off on one and then, maybe two once the one gets a little bit older, enough to be able to walk on its own and whatnot? And so see it where you're just doing a lot of different things, and it's hard to focus on one and just gonna have a restaurant beside a jewelry business, and you just started both. Like, that's not realistic. Usually it's just the jewelry business and you're figuring out the supply chain and how everything works. But anyways, yeah, so trying to help them understand too, it's that tree analogy. How do you apply it
Yeah.
to your life?
Yeah, so during breakfast, Samson and I were talking about that, and I think it's a good analogy because when you start something, you plant a tree. Sometimes you might not have anything at all, right? So You know, imagine you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you can come up with like an extra $100 after everything you spent. Okay, well, is there certain things you can cut out? Can you sell your car and buy a cheaper car so you can make more money or whatever, or pocket more money after all your expenses or whatever? There's certain ways that you can at least start to plant your seed, right? So let's say you have $500 and you want to plant your seed. That seed in the game of life is pretty cheap. It's a low starting amount, but it's something. You can start with $500 and that's enough to buy a good seed. So once you've planted your seed in the form of that $500 and then you're allowing it to grow, you're watering it, you're nurturing it in the form of, in my case, I started with like $3,500 on Amazon. I was flipping it. I was using it as best as I could. I was obtaining knowledge on how to get more capital. I was networking with other people to be able to get more leads, to group buy things that has way more opportunity than what I can fill. For example, just to make it short, I was nurturing that tree. I was growing that tree. I was giving it sunlight. And now where we're at is the tree can sustain us now. Like it can give us shade, it grows flowers, it grows fruits. Maybe we can cut a branch down and use it for like resources that we need. Basically what I'm trying to get at is it's mature. And then eventually, like think of it as like building like a forest. So eventually now I can like take a peach or an apple down from the tree, grow the seed, like put the seed and plant it into another one and like grow it as well. Because this one's matured and I don't need to like spend as much time on it because I've put things in place to make sure it's going to sustain its life, like in the form of employees and other leverage and stuff. So now I planted this one and I'm nurturing this in the form of real estate. So now I have this little thing, but I can't harvest from it yet. Like I can't take money from the cash flow it's producing yet, and I don't plan to for a while because I need it so that I can buy another house, right? So that I can make this structure stronger, so that eventually I can have like 2 trees, and then eventually you kind of keep doing that, and that's my analogy for how I'm trying to like build my life in business. That's kind of my philosophy there.
So living in that philosophy, right? We're still continuing. You have these trees, you're the farmer. I wish life was perfect and it was black and white, but we have the environment, the people.
Yeah.
Can you explain to them how community and environment impacted your life and your trees? As in, you have people who may want to cut down your trees. Maybe they don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, for the viewers that aren't fortunate enough to have a good community or maybe are in good communities, how has your community impacted your tree?
Well, I think you have to build your community. People are going to come and try to cut down your tree at all points. Someone could try to hack into your bank account. Someone could try to rob you. Someone, you might lose a bunch of inventory. Like right now, like I've, $3,000 or $4,000 worth of inventory that looks like it's going to be completely unsellable, and I have to figure out what I'm going to even do with it. Like that's part of the game. Just don't let somebody cut down your entire tree trunk. Like defend the main part of your tree, but sometimes, someone might get a tree branch. Someone might get a leaf. Someone might get a flower, an apple, or whatever. And sometimes like it's good to donate things like that, right? Like
Right.
for, charitable stuff. But you need to protect it as, at the base as much as you can, because that's the main part of your life, or how you're going to live and support yourself. So I guess the question is like, how do you protect it? Is like, you just simply do that. You protect it and you try to make smart decisions. And coming back to the point I made earlier, if you like actually really think about what you're doing and how you're going to get there, you're going to be in a better position to like make the best decisions to like protect your tree and to grow your tree for the long haul. So yeah, I mean, storms are going to come by. People are going to try to take things from you and put you in difficult situations. And unfortunately, like crappy things might happen, but you have to do your best to protect what you have and, build a life that's worth living.
I hope you guys understand that too, in that aspect of finding the right people to support your community. There's times where he might leave his garden and he needs someone else to water it. Having a supportive community and back structure and backbone and being able to provide the nutrients to allow your dreams and your goals and visions to grow is important as you're moving along the journey. And a lot of people listen to, right, the gurus. Not all the gurus are good, right? Some of these people claim they have a garden and forest of trees when they have nothing, and they're teaching other people how to manage their garden. How can someone teach you something that they haven't done themselves? You know what I mean? So, and that's what I try to project on this podcast is having experts in the game, in the field, who've done their due diligence, who've performed at the highest level of their, at where they're at in their age, of course. Could you tell them how old you are too, operating a $1.5 million revenue business?
Yeah, I'm 24.
24. Think about like the things you can accomplish at such a young age. I mean, I've done it. He's done it. You guys can do it too, even at like 19 or 20. Think about these things and plan them. What's the end goal for you?
Everybody has different philosophies, and I'll get to more in that in a second. But I guess the end goal for me is just to like live a happy life. That's to me, that's the meaning of life. My philosophy is like play the game to live. Do I live to like sell on Amazon? Do I live to like own real estate and all that stuff? No, that's part of the game for me. I have little aspirations to like own $1 billion worth of stuff. I have a lot more aspirations to like do things to be able to like comfortably support me and my family so that we can do whatever we want whenever we want and go wherever we want whenever we want. So whatever that kind of number is, like I think I'll feel it out when I get there, but I know I'm pretty far from it right now. So I think, to really answer that question, it's what's the end goal for me? It's to do whatever I want whenever I want. I can't really put a number on what exactly that is, but the more I make my way through life, I meet more people just kind of like that, and I tend to gravitate towards those people because I really do believe that like after a certain threshold of resources, it's like the value of each additional dollar diminishes. Like even for me right now, I need money to survive, life's expensive and all of that, but my next $100 isn't gonna like make me so, happy. It's, like sharing cool moments and like doing cool stuff. My goal is just enjoy my life, enjoy my 20s, understand that like these are the most valuable years of my life.
A lot of people forget to enjoy the little things, the little moments. You play the game to live, A lot of you guys, viewers that are having high aspirations and dreams, like don't forget to enjoy the little moments too, because I think those relationships, little moments may not last forever, and that's why I think you should cherish them and be appreciative of them. And even if you have a couple hustle buddies or business partners that you're working with right now and you haven't found a level of certain success, the journey is the most beautiful thing you can see. And for me and him, he wasn't, when I met him, he wasn't a one, having an FBA business and whatnot. We were just selling sneakers and just going about our days and just trying to make extra money to live, right? Throughout those days, I'm sure we learned a lot of lessons and went through tons of trials and tribulations. Here we are now, just operating at the prime of our current level. Of course, there's room to grow, but I mean, the little moments like just trying a different food yesterday. We had some Ethiopian food. I mean, that was my first time having the food.
Same.
And if you guys follow my social media, you'll see that the food there was no like forks, silverware, there was nothing. It was just, I'm like, okay, we're about to get lunch and we have never shared a meal with just eating bare hands. And that was a pretty cool moment. So appreciate moments like those. Not everything is about money. You know what I mean? The wealth is in the relationships, is in the moments, is in the memories that you start creating. And the dollar amount is usually just a byproduct of that, enabling those moments.
Yeah, it's in the present. I find myself like looking ahead to like the next thing in life. Like for example, we're just like on a little 2-day trip right now. Just had to get out of town for a day or two, and I was looking forward to this. And like now that we're like in it, we're living in it. Like we have a nice room, we have a beautiful huge balcony out there. You look forward to like things like that when you're able to, and then like when you're living in it just like sometimes I find myself just like letting life pass. Being present in those moments is so important for me because it allows me to appreciate it, and it motivates me to go a little bit further than that too, and try to obtain more. Also just again being in the present and follow your heart, follow your intuition, follow your passion. Like one thing I really didn't mention that I think is worth mentioning in here is I stopped myself about 5 or 6 years ago. No, about 5 years ago. I was like on a path to something that I realized I didn't want to do. I was 3 years into getting my bachelor's degree. I was almost done. Went into the summer with almost having my bachelor's degree completed, and I realized like I don't want to do anything that I'm like trying to do. So yeah, I really want to drive that point home is think about what you want to do, internalize it, get it down on paper, figure out how you're actually going to get there, because not enough people do that, and then they get stuck into really tough positions when they're super young and when they don't understand how life is going to work. It's unfortunate, and I almost fell into that trap. Thankfully, I didn't have any debt at that time, and I was able to be lean, make the changes that I wanted to in my life. It's been beneficial for me. Yeah, I think it's really important. You can follow me on social media. It's probably the best way to reach me at just Matt Canton, MattCanton, caps or spaces or anything. I'll answer whatever you need just via like voice memo or something.
Hope this was of true value for you. I know we didn't ask much questions, and I try to keep it to a minimal, but compact with dense information. The way we're talking right now may not be aligned with your frequency, but I promise you, if you continue the journey and just listen to all the podcasts and messages I'm sending, whether it's building an empire in Ghana or starting a trading business, or even doing Amazon FBA, or just multiple different things that I'm introducing to you guys. I hope you guys light a fire inside of yourselves and create a plan to then join and create a future you want to live instead of building one that others want you to live. So once again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.